Welcome back! This music's really hype, actually. I'm not very good at sound design. Anyways, this episode we're going to talk about enemy design. I'm kind of out of breath because I recorded this episode and then I had to check. I was starting to edit and then I cried because it turns out I didn't record the second one. No! So we're going to talk about enemy design. We're going to start with shop design, but I decided because this area is too good to test out enemies. We're going to talk a little bit of enemy design. And enemies are actually super important to, well, most video games, right? They are probably one of the primary ways you induce challenge in a game. Oh shoot, I got chopped by the dog. And so, every individual enemy becomes a little bit of a puzzle, which is what you really want out of these guys. You want the player to be able to think about every single individual encounter, either by, oh my god, there's so many of these guys, I have to use my AoE attack, or, oh, this guy, I can like block him, or he has like a very straightforward attack range, or he comes at me from a weird angle. All of these sorts of things are what you're going to run into, especially like when we progress from this area. Something you'll notice about these enemies right here is that they have fairly basic movement, which isn't necessarily bad. It's the first enemy you run into in the game, so the devs generally want to give you a chance to get used to the controls for a while. But generally, the enemies don't do anything but turn around a lot. These pirates have a small AI difference. You just saw it there, where if you're behind a pirate, he will turn around and try and attack you. So he's gonna miss me here, he's gonna turn around, hey, miss me. And that's pretty much the only difference between him and these direwolves. I think they have like the same health pool. Like, I can test it here. I'll use the sword. 1. Oh shoot. 2. Oh my god. 2. I'm bad at the game. No! Well, we can test it in a sec. Actually, there's a direwolf here. There's also a pirate here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, I'm getting ruined. 5, 6. Okay, so 6 hits from the sword. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits from the sword. So yeah, there's a small health difference, and they both do the same damage. So, okay, minor difference. But really, couldn't they have just made the pirate like, I don't know, a recolor of the direwolf, and that would have been just as good? It seems a little bit strange. The enemy design is not the best, but again, the explorer. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this game. They are posing a bit of a challenge to me despite me having cleared these areas many times already. Should really be using my guns because my guns level up when I use them, not my sword. Anyways, that's the enemy design. We're going to really quickly move on to the boss, which is another not great thing about the game. Darn you unpassable platforms! I went the wrong way. Here's kind of an interesting point about the enemies. A lot of them can be cheesed, like, really easily because of how basic their AI is. So, like, he's just never going to hit me, and I can use the shotgun to shoot him. If I was using the pistol, I can't actually hit him. It's clearly an intentional thing the designers left in. Firstly, it's kind of funny thinking of, like, the pirates are just like, I can't get our boss. But in the literal game sense, I don't know why you would have your enemies just like you would give the player a chance to cheese your enemies. Meet the deranged direwolf. This boss is a meat sheep, and this is something you don't want in games. I'm pretty sure anyone who is lightly interested in design can tell me why you wouldn't want just like a big tanky enemy for your player to sit and like mash buttons on. It's not very interesting for the players. Because of that, the deranged direwolf, in my opinion, is probably a pretty boring boss. I mean, it is the first boss you encounter, but the second boss is also kind of similar in that you just kind of have to shoot a lot, which is a shame because if you played something like Binding of Isaac or Titan Souls, indie games are generally pretty good about their boss fight. Like, what else could you do with this fight? Like, you could maybe have to shoot his open mouth? I don't know, you know? Comment below, what do you think we should do with this fight? Also, explosion of money, yay. So there's supposed to be a cutscene here, but I triggered it by accident when I wasn't recording, so This is like Penelope or something. Her dad's the one who captured our parents. And yeah, that's good. So this is something really weird. Why am I so tired? Why is this episode so much shorter than the one I did before? Basically, let's take a look at all these prices, right? We have 250 fills art, respawn at the last level, 2000. Oh, we can't get any of the food. Well, this is like 500. This was 15,000. This is like a damage boost. This heals, this heals. This is an upgrade to our sword for 10,000. And this is health regen, which is 100,000. And also we have mods for our weapons, right? So we can get like lightning for our pistol. This entire shot system is super weird in that it's super expensive and you can't really buy anything. Which is weird because most of the items, while they at first appear useful in the consumables, health refill next time at 1 HP, sure, I may as well eat it because I'm never going to use it. Most of the items they're nice, but they're not useful. Also, I just triggered the boss fight again. This is something that I did last time as well, but now I know that it exists. I shouldn't have been walked back in. Anyways, this is one of the really annoying things they do. I'm pretty sure it's on purpose because it's not difficult to remove a boss from a level, in my opinion. Normally bosses go away, but I guess if you're really enjoying a boss, it's not necessarily wrong for a designer to have you face... I'm gonna die here, aren't I? Oh, that's what the chicken does. That's kind of useful against really tanky bosses, but normally the checkpoints are like close enough that it doesn't really matter, right? And overall, I find I'd rather just play the game without items. It's not extremely difficult yet, and I'm not actually that great at the game yet, so that's an issue. Minor point, you might have noticed when I touched that door, there's not like an up arrow prompt like there normally is. Same thing with the shop, right? Watch, normally when you want to go to a shop, you go to the shop and then you press an interaction button, right? This game doesn't do that. Rather, if I go touch the shop, boom, it just throws me in the shop window, which is kind of a wonky way to do it, in my opinion. It works, but a good quality of life change would be to just add like some kind of graphic up arrow thing and not have the shop trigger without the up arrow, so I could just like run past it if I don't care. Right, now for my big complaint is the prices of the items. While I'm doing this, think about like, what do you want out of your shop in a game, right? Everything is at least 100,000. All of the weapon mods are 250,000. Even the pistol mod, which is crazy to me because the pistol's the most useless weapon at this point of the game. And so throughout the mid-game, I'm finding myself just really not able to buy anything, even when I save up, you know? Like, I found myself consistently just having to go back and get more coin upgrades, which is really annoying. Like, I want to interact with this shop, but the only thing I can get is coin multipliers and this sword upgrade, which I don't want, and all of these useless health items that I don't care about, you know? To a player, this is super boring, because you're just going to a shop and you're like, well, I can't buy anything I want. Like, I feel like at the very least, the weapons could have been tiered a little bit, right? Like, pistol could be tier 1, shotgun could be tier 2, and then price, like, pistol could be 5,000. And that way there's some progression going on, and you feel a reason to use the shop, and you feel like you're actually going somewhere in the game. It's a small note. Feels bad, man. Anyways, on to the next area. We get to skip the cutscene because I actually triggered it already. Pirate enemy, shotgun's OP, and now we're gonna meet a new enemy. It's like Rabbit Bat or something. And this is probably the most interesting enemy you're going to face at this point, partially because for whatever reason he goes through walls, which feels like a bit of a cop-out to me, I'm not gonna lie, but the interesting thing about this enemy is that you can't cheese it the way you normally cheese enemies. Normally the way you would cheese an enemy is like you would lead it to a point where it can't get to you. For example, I want to kill this guy, I'm just going to stand over here, hey, he can't kill me. The bats don't get cheesed because they go through everything, even walls, and so you can't like, oh well, I killed it, but I was going to say if I was having trouble with the bat, I could jump over it, stand over here, and the bat would have to go through this small space to reach me if it didn't go through walls. So I would just have free reign on it. Although it probably, because the bat seems to be programmed to just chase me, the bat would probably just continue to hunt me down. Really quickly, let me see if I can find another bat. Yeah, there's one. Oh god, this... Get out of the way, wolf. So what's the interesting thing about the bat? Well, for one thing, again, the whole going through walls thing makes him a bit more challenging to maneuver around. But also he's going to be a little bit harder to hit because he's at an elevation, right? Your guns only shoot directly in front of you. You can't really move around your gun, so hitting this enemy requires you to move your player around, which is actually probably really good. And that's about all I have to say with Cali's Caves. I will continue to play this game off camera, and I would recommend you check it out for yourself. Thank you all for watching. My name is Nujum. Again, Cali Caves. It's actually Cali Caves 3. You'll see it in the title. It's not that big a deal. Sorry, I'm a bit tired this episode because I was like really annoyed at like having to realize things and I'm being interrupted. I legitimately do like the game. Thanks for the developers like contacting me about it because I would never have found it on my own. Thank you all for watching. See you guys in my next video. I realized throughout the episode I've been saying a lot. I tend to do that, but oh my god, another item? Really? Oh, I haven't complained about the UI. Oh, there might be a third episode, but if there's not a third episode, map. Let me know that I'm teleporting somewhere, because I hit this, and it just gives me this name, and I'm like, what? Okay, yeah, sure. It teleports you, which is super annoying. Random side note to end the episode. Goodbye.